base has dropped on a championship city in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a wild time right now in Atlanta, Georgia. If you've not been going through all of this with us, Atlanta United wins MLS Cup on Saturday. There was a parade yesterday. I have not seen estimates of how many people were there. It was nuts. It was nuts being part of it. It was nuts watching people just joining the parade. I've never seen anything like that, where the parade turned into a march about halfway through, and then the celebration at the Home Depot backyard where Darren Eales is quoting Andre 3000 and gauntlets are dropped, and Arthur Blank was as excited as I've ever seen him. And it was it's been a wild... What are we at now, Jarrett, since the final whistle on Saturday night? 72 hours? 60 hours? I don't know.
It all ran together for me.
Yeah, it's all running together, and that's why we didn't have a show last night. But thank you to Nick Alifi for dropping in on a soccer over there. I guess that was beyond a hot drop, because that was about 30 minutes of Nick unleashing. So I don't know what we call that type of...
That was Nick's manifesto for the week.
Yes. So... Thank you, Nick. Thanks, everybody who is now catching up with us. And if you didn't see tonight over at Fido Irish Pub in Buckhead for our final stoppage time live of the season with 92.9 The Game, we're going to have Julian Gressel with us. It could get crazy a little bit.
It's going to turn into Animal House before it's all said and done. I trust you all.
I don't know if I trust us. But we'll see.
You may want to get on this. You may want to discuss getting on the second floor to give yourself time in case the barriers break.
That's a good call. Yeah, I might need to get there early and plan my escape routes, especially if Jay Riddle gets out of control. You know how that can go.
Well, he's going to shoot a music video there tonight, probably.
Jay Riddle has reunited Starship, and they will be performing at Fido Irish Pub with Julian Gressel leading the band. That's what's going to happen.
Oh. This is not the universe I signed up for.
It kind of is, though. I kind of like it. Let's talk about this universe. We were talking about it before we kicked off. The fact that thousands and thousands and thousands of people were chanting and singing in downtown Atlanta yesterday for a soccer team that has played less than 100 games in its existence, and brought a title to this city for the first time since 1995. It's kind of insane when you just step back and think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just... I think I'm still trying to take some of it in.
Yeah, same.
Because we were sitting there in the press box as it's all happening, and as the time is just rolling off the clock, you're like, okay, yeah, so this is happening. All right, this is going to happen. And then it does, and a lot of it feels like kind of a blur, even including post-game down the locker room. And then the last few days, it's just kind of like, oh, yeah, that happened. That was a thing. And then that many people showing up yesterday on... I don't know if you could have asked for worse conditions for a parade weather-wise.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, it was raining and legitimately raining on and off, and then it kind of had a Seattle mist going. And it was overcast. It was cold. It was windy at times. Like, I don't know if you could have painted a worse day for that to happen on a Monday morning. People have to return to work. And you saw that many people out there. That was awesome. Good job, everybody. Now, I'm still trying, I think, to kind of put it all together in my head about, like, going from Saturday evening all the way through.
Yeah. There's been so many different things, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, that have just been incredible. I mean, I don't even know. I woke up yesterday at 4:30. I couldn't sleep anymore because I was excited about a parade. I mean, it's nuts. Thank you to everybody who yelled at us in our, as Mike Bell said, urban assault vehicle. Jimmy Vance did not hit anybody, which is amazing because people
Yeah,
were just crowding into the streets.
it looked like a vehicle you would see in Jurassic Park.
It needed to be yesterday. It was wild, but so many people. I mean, first we were like broadcasting from the vehicle, which was pretty crazy. Flipping back between a phone and our headsets and making it work, talking to Rick Campbell and John Michaels, who were as pumped as anybody getting to broadcast from a celebration for a title in the city. And so many people like either yelled at us and said thank you or just gave us a thumbs up. People were running over to the car to high five us, to take selfies. I mean, it was nuts. It was crazy. It was very cool, and it was something that you don't ever think about. I mean, as a kid, I was probably like every other kid who loved this game. You want to be a professional player, and at some point you realize you're not going to do that. But you never thought you'd be in a parade. That's not something you strive for. It's crazy. It was a very special day, and it was incredible for the sport in the city. And it's something that I've been trying to really drive home is that, yes, Atlanta is a special place when it comes to soccer in this country right now. It's not an impossible thing to replicate. And I'm seeing that way too much around the country right now that, well, we don't have Arthur Blank. Well, he spent so much money, then, yeah, you kind of have to do this. Or this is just understood this is going to happen. If you spend this money, you're going to win. None of those things are true. The connection, the emotional connection between this fan base and this team has nothing to do with the money that's been spent. It's been cultivated and fostered and developed from day one. That's what other clubs around the country have to look at and have to try to learn from. Don't just put your head in the sand and say we can't spend money like Atlanta United. Say we're going to do this in our way, and we're going to take the elements of what they do and find our version of it. I really want that to be the move going forward. I don't want, as special as this is, and it's something that all of us who have been part of this in any way will remember, I don't want this to be this outlier in American soccer. I really don't.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't know if you were done. I didn't know where that ended.
Yeah, it's one of those days, dude. I'm sorry.
It's good. We are on limited charge right now. The phone got plugged in. The phone that is us got plugged in at like 3 a.m. on a slow charge, and it ain't at 100 yet. We're still working our way back. It's gonna take a day or two. We're on a sleep debt. It's so weird because I was sitting there in the press box talking with Eric Quintana from Mouse of the South, and we're talking like as the game's going on, we're talking remember being at Pace Academy's football stadium a couple years ago with a couple thousand people watching a bunch of kids play. You didn't have a team, you didn't have uniforms. Like a bunch of kids out there in black shirts that SunTrust printed across them, and it was that first Academy game. And it was, it's weird to think that a couple of years ago you had just that. And then a couple of years later, there's 73,000 people rivaling any Super Bowl of recent memory in terms of total attendance. People watching Major League Soccer final, a game in which your team, a second-year team, looked about as comfortable as you could have ever asked them to look in a championship match.
Yeah, absolutely. Just credit to this group and bringing this group together. It was the right collection of players for the right moment, and you hit on your stars, you hit on your starters, you hit on your reserves. I mean, there's very few players that you've brought into this team that this front office did not hit on. That doesn't always happen, and it won't always happen. It will there will be moments where players come in and don't live up to the potential that they've had. That's going to happen sometimes. But these first 2 years are special. Year 3, well, it's already underway. We've had a trade window. We've had some moves happen for the 2019 season. You have an expansion draft later today. Atlanta United could lose a player there. Only one, but they could lose a player there, and we'll get into that. Free agency opens at 3 o'clock. There could be players that move, could be players that sign at that time. Re-entry draft, waiver draft later this week. You're going to see things happen straight away because they have to. But this is going to be, I mean, we've only had a couple, but this is going to be the craziest offseason Atlanta United's ever had. And maybe one of the craziest that we ever see because of a new manager coming in, because of the first major outgoing transfer in Miguel Almiron that we all expect to happen at some point this offseason, and another major potential incoming signing with all of the talk out of Buenos Aires about Pity Martinez and taking his comments into account from the weekend, taking River Plate's president's comments into account previously. It sounds like something's going on there. I think we can all deduce that. So, buckle up. Just because the season's over doesn't mean things are going to go away and things are going to get quiet. There's lots of talk around the league as well, and we'll get into those rumors and updates after the break, and we'll get you caught up. There are a couple of clubs that could be making coaching hirings this week. LA Galaxy, FC Dallas are two that we'll be looking at. Players will be moving. Trades will be happening. Players will be signed. We're already seeing Vancouver very active in rebuilding. I think Cincinnati will be very active after today, after the expansion draft. It's going to be fun. So we're going to take a break, reset, tweet your Tuesday thoughts at us at Soccer Down Here, whether it's about the 2019 season that's already upon us, whether it's about this past weekend, the parade. Love to hear from people who were at the Gulch after the game. Didn't get out there in time to see any of that. Just saw all the debris all over the Gulch afterwards. So I'd love to hear how that party was. And anything else is on your mind on Tuesday morning here in Atlanta. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here, December 11th. couple days after Atlanta United has lifted the MLS Cup trophy. Lifted it quite a few times around town yesterday in the streets at this big celebration at the Home Depot backyard and all over town. Michael Parkhurst is definitely enjoying himself, as he should. This is a guy who had been here before multiple times, and you get to that stage of the career and you wonder, are you going to be a champion? So Parky absolutely 100% deserves it. One thing about Parkhurst that people have kind of zeroed in on here lately is he is available in the expansion draft today, as is Jeff Larentowicz. I don't think you need to worry about Cincinnati drafting either one of those guys, because this is what we always do, Jarrett, when we get into expansion draft time. We look at the list and we're like, oh, look at this veteran. Oh, this guy's really good. He'd start tomorrow. This guy. That's not typically how the expansion draft goes. The other thing I think you have to look at is who Cincinnati already has, and they already have quite a few guys. They are following the approach. People have compared it to Minnesota, and I don't think that's fair, because this group is far more talented than what Minnesota brought up from NASL. But they have 10 guys under contract right now. So you're not just completely picking blind. You're trying to fill the needs that you don't currently have. You need another center back. You need to make a decision on, are Justin Hoyt and Blake Smith your outside backs starting, or are they going to be depth? Midfield, Emmanuel Ledesma is a guy you're going to count on to make things happen for you. I think Nazmi Al-Badawi is absolutely a Major League Soccer player. Fatai Alashe, definitely an MLS-level talent. Corbin Bone, Jimmy McLaughlin, I think are more depth pieces at the MLS level, but good, valuable depth to have. Up top, you have Fernando Adi. We know what he can do in this league. You also signed Emery Welshman, a player who has been very successful in USL and a good depth piece to have up top. So you're not starting from scratch here. When it comes to Parkhurst and Larentowicz, they're in different situations based on contract, but I don't see either one being picked here. Michael Parkhurst is actually out of contract technically, but his rights are still held by Atlanta at the moment because they are negotiating. They have made an offer. If Cincinnati was to pick him, he could not sign there and become a free agent. Cincinnati's not going to waste a pick that way. You only get 5. Jeff Larentowicz, he is under contract to Atlanta. His option was picked up. If Cincinnati picks him, Jeff could say, I'm going to retire and not come play for you. Cincinnati's not going to waste that. So I don't see Cincinnati looking at either one of those guys. I could see Cincinnati looking at 3 players that are on the unprotected list that I've kind of zeroed in on. And thanks to Orange and Blue Press for reaching out as they were preparing for their expansion draft coverage. Got the thoughts of myself and a lot of other people from around the league. I retweeted the article just a little bit ago from my Twitter account, Longshoe. So go check that out for some perspective from around the league. But I think Mikey Ambrose is probably the most likely Atlanta player to go in the expansion draft. He's on a great contract if you're Cincinnati and you're looking at the salary cap. He's shown he is a starting level player in this league, I think, at left back, which is a priority position because there's just not that many quality left backs in this league. The other 2 that I think are possible, but probably less likely because of Fernando Adi's presence and now Emery Welshman, Brandon Vasquez, age, potential, size, everything he brings to the table. Again, another pretty good contract to manage. And Romario Williams, a player who has had a lot of success, but a player who is not going to displace Joseph Martinez from this lineup anytime soon. So those are the 3 that I kind of zeroed in on, Jarrett. What about you? What do you think about this expansion draft and the potential for an Atlanta United player to go? I think Jarrett's broken, actually. It's been one of those days and one of those weeks. We might have lost Jarrett. Anything can happen here as we try to manage this. I'm I'm really curious to see what route Cincinnati goes. I'm intrigued to see how they handle this, because this is an opportunity that we've seen in the past teams take to pick up guys who they think they might be able to flip, pick up guys that they can flip back to their original team. We saw Atlanta United do that with Clint Irwin, where you pick up some extra allocation money in that type of deal. We've seen teams pick players and then move them on. Atlanta did that with Donnie Toya. Donnie Toya turned into the number 8 pick in the Super Draft that turned into Julian Gressel. Pretty sweet move, if you ask me. Not many expansion draft players end up having a huge impact on the team that they are picked by. You know, you look back to 2017. This was LAFC's expansion draft. They went and got Tyler Miller. They did get a starting level goalkeeper, and Miller was their guy all season long. Latif Blessing played a good bit. Good player. I don't know if he's going to be the guy going forward for LAFC. We'll have to see. Marco Arena was their guy early on, then was displaced from the lineup as the year went on. Yuka Ryatala and Raheem Edwards were picked and then traded to Montreal for Laurent Simon, who then left in the summer transfer window, so that didn't really work out too well. It's an interesting process dealing with this expansion draft as you try to strategize here. We'll go back to the Atlanta and Minnesota draft and how that went down, just to refresh your memory. So Donnie Toya was the first pick, traded to Orlando. Minnesota picked Chris Duval. He was traded to Montreal. Then Atlanta picked Zach Lloyd. A little bit of a flyer coming off of injury. If it had worked out, I think Lloyd would have been a player that would still be with the team and a contributor defensively. Never recovered from the injuries that he had in Dallas. He played 45 minutes, I believe, in an Open Cup match, and that was all we saw of him in an Atlanta United kit. Worth the risk, didn't work out. Colin Warner was picked by Minnesota. He's been a solid hand for the Loons. Then third pick for Atlanta was Clint Irwin, traded back to Toronto. Third pick for Minnesota was Mohamed Saeed. Didn't work out. They moved him on in March of 17 to Colorado. Atlanta picked Mikey Ambrose with their fourth pick. Minnesota picked Jeff Attinella. Then they traded him to Portland. He was in goal in the MLS Cup final for Portland, so that worked out for Portland. Don't know how that worked out for Minnesota. Atlanta picked Alec Kann with their final expansion pick, and Alec Kann was a valuable part of last year's team as the starter before Brad Kazan arrived in the summer, and he's been a solid backup and a guy you know you can count on, and a guy whose option was picked up. Minnesota picked Femi Hollinger-Jansen, who was traded back to New England in February of 17. So I think we come into an expansion draft and we expect these players that are going to be a big part of a team's roster, and it usually doesn't work out that way. It typically does not go down that way. So today, I think Cincinnati is looking at very specific types of players, and I've seen some zero in on like a Kai Kamara. You're not going to pick Kai Kamara unless you're going to trade him on, because why would you? You have Fernando Adi. That would feel like a wasted pick. I've seen Jeff Lorenowitz or Michael Parkhurst zeroed in on. I don't think that would make sense either, because Parkhurst could opt for free agency instead, so you're not going to risk that. That one makes no sense. Lorenowitz, he could say, no, I'm not coming. I'm going to retire instead. I'm good. That could happen as well. He could force that trade back to Atlanta. He could force that trade wherever he wanted. It'd be a potentially wasted pick. I think you're going to look young. I think you're going to look to see if there are any potential starters. One that I've zeroed in on a little bit that I think could be a great pickup is Perry Kitchen. 26 years old, LA Galaxy. There you go. There, I knew I could bring Jarrett back if I said Perry Kitchen's name.
Yeah, I'm easy like that.
It's like Beetlejuice. I mean, I just Perry Kitchen, and then Jarrett chimes back in. It's great.
Yeah, I'm easy about that. I mean, God bless Perry Kitchen, because, man, Perry Kitchen's had some up and down times even at LA lately. It's been kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, and there's some interesting things going on with the LA Galaxy at the moment. First up, Siggy Schmidt is in the hospital. Not sure what it is, but there were reports that he was in the ICU. There was also talk that it was not exactly a surprise to people who followed the Galaxy closely. He had some issues with his health while he was in charge of the LA Galaxy. So, Siggy is an MLS and a U.S. soccer legend. All of our thoughts are with him and his family as he tries to bounce back and tries to recover. The flip side of what's going on in L.A. is Caleb Porter has been spotted courtside at a Lakers game with Dennis DeClose, Chris Klein, and other Galaxy execs. Looks like the Galaxy are preparing a move to bring in Caleb Porter to be in charge of this team. There had been talk that it would be Dominic Kinnear. There had been some whispers that it would be Jason Kreis, or then it was Kreis would be joining Kinnear's staff. I don't think the Galaxy show themselves in public, and courtside at a Lakers game is about as public as it gets in Los Angeles. I don't think you do that unless you're about to make a deal. I don't think, because it's not like a move. I mean, Porter's not a name that is going to get the tabloids going. So this is kind of that, hey, this is what we're going to do. Get ready. That's what it feels like. So it's a tumultuous time in Galaxy land, Jarrett. This is a club that has been the gold standard of Major League Soccer and is no longer that. And I don't even know if you could say they're the gold standard in their own city. This is a move that it feels like they have to get right.
Yeah, it does. And we've talked about this for 2 years now, that with LAFC coming on board, that the Galaxy were going to have to get something and stick to it and get it right, in the same way that like the Red Bulls realized we're going to build our academy system and we're going to be us. We're going to be what we are, and we're going to stick to an identity. We're going to make it work. And the Galaxy just kind of waffled into kind of being not that. And we're kind of in purgatory. We're kind of stuck in between for a bit. And now you have less margin for error than you did before. You've got to get something right here. You've got to make this hire right. You've got to make off-season decisions right. It looks like you're going to keep Zlatan. For what that's worth, you're going to be asking him again, to provide the kind of season he had last year in limited time, but in this time in a full season. But you've got to make other decisions, and you've got to get everything right. And you've got the elephant in the room with the Dos Santos contract. The margin for error is smaller than it was because you got things wrong in the time in between.
Yeah, and I think you've kind of lost your way a little bit. I'm fascinated to see what happens with the Galaxy at the end of this week. If it's Porter, does that change your narrative right now? I think it helps your team. I think it makes you a better team. I think it's an improvement over Kinnear or Kreis or a combination of those two. I do. I think Caleb Porter will do a good job there. But does it help you battle LAFC immediately? No, I don't think so. Does it get you a bunch of headlines in the LA Times? I don't think it does. So Caleb Porter's going to have success on the field next year because that's how he will be measured by. He's not a huge name to change it just off the signing. He's going to have to get those results to change it with performance. We have some big news out of Cincinnati. This will get a break. It's that big. I'm just going to read the press release because it's that big of a deal. 2 Cincinnati cultural icons, FC Cincinnati and Skyline Chili, have announced a new partnership that will bring the region's leading chili casual restaurant into Major League Soccer. Skyline will be the official chili partner of FC Cincinnati. That's big.
I've never had Skyline chili, but every time I see it, it doesn't look appetizing. I've heard it's good from people who live there and who are from there. I worked with a guy who grew up there, and he says he has to go back every now and then to have it because it's like getting a blood transfusion, and it's just a part of him. But, yeah, Godspeed.
Dude. We just lost every Cincinnati listener we might have ever had. This is from the press release.
They'll hate listen. It's fine.
That's true. This tells you everything you need to know. A testament to the excitement of FCC's fan base for Skyline. When the Chili Partner was initially announced as a late-season concession option at Nippert Stadium in the fall of 2018, the engagement levels of the social notifications alerting fans to the fact were among the club's highest non-game performing posts of the month, a period which also included winning the 2018 USL regular season championship. Skyline's a big deal in Cincinnati.
It is, yeah. I'm not trying to discount how big of a deal it is. It's a big deal in Cincy. I'm just kind of like, man, good on you. Because, like, I don't know if Skyline's my thing, but I know it's Cincinnati's thing. And this is something that I'll beat my head on for so many things with every team. Embrace your city. Embrace your culture. And if that's Skyline Chili, then embrace the hell out of it. And if they are, great job, Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't think we have a comparable thing like that would get that type of reaction if they were announced as the official whatever partner of Atlanta United. I don't think there is that thing.
I don't think so either. I mean, chicken and waffles?
But, I mean, that's
not really
not
Atlanta.
There's not a plate. There's not like one chicken and waffles place. There's not the chicken and waffles place.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of perplexed myself.
Yeah, I don't think there's a comparable comparison. I think Cincinnati is just blessed with their Skyline chili, and they have an official chili partner. That's got to be the first official chili partner in Major League Soccer.
Blessed is an interesting word that I don't know that everyone would use, but I'm here for it.
Our friend Joe, and it was great to see Joe yesterday in all the chaos of everything at the celebration at the Home Depot backyard. He is laughing at you about Skyline Chili, but he feels the same way. So he's got your back.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if Skyline Chili is your thing, Skyline Chili is your thing, and it should be your thing. Don't let me stop you. Just let me be confused. I don't think it's a lot to ask.
The official chili partner of FC Cincinnati, Skyline Chili. We're going to take a quick break and try to recover from the Skyline Chili news, and we'll get into more news and rumors from around the league. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Appolinsky & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Appolinsky at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Appolinsky is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath.
He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties.
He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Welcome back. Soccer Down here. December 11th. Still trying to recover from a wild weekend here in Atlanta. Josh Eisenberg says that we need an Atlanta United official Brunswick Stew partner.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
I'm good with that. I don't know who it would be. Again, I think Brunswick Stew.
It's not John.
No, John's not judging the Brunswick Stew partnership for sure. He's not involved in that one in any way. John is busy at Mercedes-Benz Stadium with all of the high school football playoffs that'll be going on over the next couple of days. He might have a voice on Thursday. I don't know. If he does, he'll join us. If he doesn't, we'll catch up with him on Friday. I don't think he'll be having any Brunswick Stew over the next couple of days. I think he's safe, although there are a few teams from the lower half of the state who might be gunning for him if they've heard the show.
Yeah, he's not going to get an interview on the sideline. That's what's going to happen.
Skyline Chili has moved the needle, folks. Not quite as much as it has for FC Cincinnati. We have not had that much social media engagement on Skyline Chili, but the Colonel says Skyline Chili is absolutely awesome. To dismiss it without trying it is diminishing your quality of life. But he says hashtag more for me, so I don't think he's too upset about it.
I've been accused of worse.
Yeah, it's true, and Lewis Martin actually goes there. He says
accuses me of worse.
Yes, Jarrett does not care for Chick-fil-A. Not sure I trust him. I dig Skyline.
This is true. I'll eat Chick-fil-A. It's just not my favorite thing in the world.
Lewis is correct.
Too much money, and also, I literally grew up eating Chick-fil-A at school all the time because I always had Chick-fil-A biscuits at school.
Do not slander Chick-fil-A biscuits, sir. I will give you the sandwich a little bit if you want to go there, but the biscuits...
I'll go there. For better or worse, I'll go there. Well, here's the thing. I grew up on the west side. I had Martin's in my backyard.
I had a Martin's in my backyard, too, and it still didn't touch a Chick-fil-A biscuit.
I would prefer a Martin's biscuit over Chick-fil-A.
I'll take a Martin's sausage biscuit.
Yeah, sausage, link, egg, and cheese on a cat head biscuit. Man, let's go.
No, that's good stuff. But the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit, ooh, them's fighting words, sir. Ricky Ricardo just wins it, though, because he is 100% correct. The comparable move for Atlanta United to Skyline Chili being an official chili partner, and I don't know exactly what partner this would be, maybe official late-night eatery, Waffle House. If Atlanta did a partnership with Waffle House, that would be big.
Got to put a Waffle House in the bins. If there's not one already, there might be. I don't know.
I don't think there is.
I know there's Deli's chicken and sausage. That's always great.
That's great. That's like a whole different type of category. The waffle is special, and they're everywhere. I mean, there were exits in Henry County that had 3 Waffle Houses at them somehow off of the highway, which made no sense to me, and I don't know how that worked and how they stayed open, but they did for quite a long time. You had like your Waffle House that you went to, and there might be another one that you could throw a waffle and hit the other Waffle House, but you went to your Waffle House. It was like that.
Remember, Waffle House is basically the Jim Cantori of restaurants.
Yeah.
If it's closed, you know things are bad.
Yes. If they're on a limited menu, you can judge where things are based off of that.
Yeah, and the answer is going to be bad.
Yes, absolutely. The Waffle House is special, and if Waffle House did a partnership with Atlanta United, yeah, absolutely, that would be the Skyline Chili equivalent. Ricky Ricardo wins the day with that one. Ryan Tomlich, one of the editors at Goal.com, was in town for MLS Cup, and I saw his tweet about, I'm in Atlanta, I've never had Waffle House, what do I do? And that definitely. I just tweeted back and said scattered, smothered, and covered. I said, that's the way you start. I mean, you can go past that, I think, with time, but that as your initiation, I think that's the way to go. Scattered, smothered, covered, done. I go ketchup on that too. Done. You're good.
I can take or leave the ketchup. I'm not opposed to it, but it's not my first choice. But if you give it to me with ketchup, I'm not going to hesitate.
Yeah, I see some people like just drown it in ketchup. Nah, I just want a little bit of the ketchup just to mix in. I have, and it's been a long time since I have. I have done these scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, and diced with mustard, and it was surprisingly really good.
Yeah, usually I just get scattered, smothered, covered, raisin toast, a couple eggs, and a waffle, and I'm fine.
Scattered, smothered, covered with, depending on how hungry I am, a grilled cheese or a waffle sandwich, the like ham and cheese, or if I'm hungry, a patty melt. I'm good. I'm good to go. It's a good day.
Oh, man.
Oh, the Waffle
I'm hungry.
House.
I'm going to go to Waffle House. I may skip the rest of the show and just go to Waffle House.
That might be lunch. I was really tempted to go to Waffle House after leaving the Benz at like 1:45 Sunday morning. I was really close, but I was so tired that all I could muster up at that point was to stop at the gas station and get a Yoo-Hoo. That was my celebration.
I just went home and was like, I need to go to bed.
I couldn't.
Then my wife was awake and she wanted to see all the videos and pictures from the celebration and wanted us to talk about the game and discuss tactics. I was like, I want to go to sleep. I don't want to do this.
I was wide awake. I just could not sleep.
See, I had to be up at like 7 o'clock to go to the station.
Yeah.
Sunday morning. So I was like, I need to at least get a nap in.
Yeah. I just couldn't. I was up for a while. I watched a lot of the game back. I couldn't finish it. I finally did finish it last night. I was getting ready to crash last night, and then I get the news from Jimmy Vance that we're going to have Julian Gressel on Stoppage Time live, and I was like, oh, boy, here we go. And was awake again. Yeah, as I was trying to figure out, okay, if things get crazy, if Jay Riddle gets out of control, where's the back door to the Fido from where I'd be located? I was trying to figure all these things out. I can't get to a window. That's the problem. I'm stuck. I'm going to have to be very fast and jump over the rail to my right and get out that side door, or I'm going to have to go barricade myself in the kitchen. It's one or the other if things get out of control, but I think I've got my plan. So after I figured all that out, I'm wide awake again, and it's like, oh, yeah, let me watch the final 15, 20 minutes of the game and some of the post-game coverage on Fox. And, yeah, it was emotional again. Not even going to lie. Very cool to see and hear in a different way. It felt like an out-of-body experience because I'm like, I was there, but I didn't see it this way, and I didn't get this feeling of it. So it was very cool.
Yeah, that's first off, I'd go for barricading in the kitchen because then as you're waiting for everything to die down, there's probably a back door in the kitchen, first of all.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know. I haven't been back there. So, yeah, that's a good point.
If there's not a back door, there's food. And
also
then you can survive. You can barricade yourself and survive. And there's fried goat cheese back there. So.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, good. Okay, done. All right, plan is made. I'm good. Yeah. Jay, have at it. You can go crazy.
As far as the last 15 minutes of the game go, I still can't get over how trivial they made the last 15 minutes of that game.
Oh, I know.
And Felipe Cardenas wrote an article about it. It's something we had talked about before, during, and after. 0 goals from open play in the playoffs from Atlanta United. 2 set-piece goals given up. Mm-hmm. Both of them kind of weird and chaotic, and both of them really irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Let's see, 8 goals in 3 home games. I mean, with 1 goal scored in 2 away games, and giving up just 2 goals, none from open play, is the recipe for playoff success. Not easily replicated, but if you can, chances are if you give up 2 goals in the entire playoffs and both of them are weird set-piece goals, you're going to lift a cup.
100%. You know, this defense never gets its due. And what they did in the postseason is just absurd. You know, you look at it. 1-0 win on the road at Yankee Stadium. 3-1 win at home against NYC. 3-0. 1-0 loss at Red Bull Arena. Didn't matter. 2-0 win against Portland. You give up a goal to NYC. You give up a goal to Red Bulls. Both off set pieces. You have 3 clean sheets. You comfortably win the final. I mean, I was at a point in this one. Second goal, I felt really good. 75th minute or so, I think it was probably the Joseph substitution. When that happens, I'm like, that is the biggest swagger move I have ever seen a manager pull in a final. It is basically like, yeah, it's over. Gio, you guys can keep trying. It's over. I'm taking Joseph out. It's over.
I think Stamsted's called it like the cockiest move he's ever seen in a final.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is the equivalent of the Vince McMahon strut to the ring. It is that kind of move to do that. Awesome. Just awesome performance all the way around. Never felt like it was really in doubt after Atlanta had the first goal. We're going to get into your Tuesday thoughts after this. There are lots of thoughts about Waffle House, which is always good. Andrew Baker's upset because I guess there is no Waffle House in Germany, and that's something that probably should be corrected. I think Waffle House would be a great export.
Yeah.
It needs to happen. We need to get Waffle House in Germany for Andrew. See, Gwen agrees. She likes the Waffle House, too. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as legal elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here, December 11th show, Tuesday Thoughts episode. And we've got lots of thoughts from you guys out there on Twitter. It's Jason Longshore, Jarrett Smith with you this morning. Man, Steve the Pirate's upset with me. He says...
Yes, he is.
He says, I've admired you for the last couple of years, but your Martin's take is the worst you've ever made. Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits taste like microwave Insta garbage compared to Martin's. Wow.
See, I don't necessarily agree with the end part, but
that's harsh.
I think you're selling Martin's short.
Martin's,
me.
Martin's for I always look at a sausage biscuit and a chicken biscuit like it's two different worlds. It's like two completely different things. I don't know if Martin's had a chicken biscuit. Did they? Probably.
I don't know.
I never thought to get it because I loved the sausage biscuit or the sausage egg and cheese or whatever I felt like that day. But I sometimes just
steak
get a
and gravy's always good.
Sausage biscuit.
You're not going to go wrong with steak and gravy either.
No, I never went too deep into Martin's, and the Pirate's probably going to start yelling at me again. But I did go like burger at Martin's before, and that was pretty good stuff. So, yeah. Sorry, Steve. I liked Martin's. I just didn't like it that much. And there wasn't one super close to me either. So it would have been like way out of my way to get to a Martin's. There were probably 3 Chick-fil-A's between there and Martin's. So that's probably a big part of it.
That's the cookout philosophy too. That there is no such thing as a cookout in a convenient location. Cookout is always very much out of the way. You have to make a specific trip to go to cookout.
Not where I'm at, actually.
Well, you live in a weird place then.
It's a great place. They took the Zestos on Ponce and turned it into a cookout. So I'm not far from there at all.
They opened a cookout right down the street from my parents' house. Like a year after I moved out, I was just mortally offended.
As you should be. We had some cookout yesterday after the parade and after the celebration. That was a great cap to a great morning and early afternoon.
Making good life decisions there.
Yeah. I think it was Minna's first time at the cookout. She was quite impressed.
What?
It was good. I mean, it happens. But it was good. It was a good day. All right, Trey Morrison. Could we dub Julian Gressel ambassador of Waffle House and send him over on a scattered and smothered mission? And that's the greatest hashtag of all time. I'm down with it.
I don't see why not.
That's a good endorsement. I think this could work. I really do.
Man, this is just...
And Jonas Wilson says, schnitzel and hash browns sound amazing. Would Waffle House add schnitzel?
We have tripped the light fandango here.
Skyline Chili was the gateway drug to this. This is what happened.
This is why Skyline is banned.
No, not at all. And the
Georgia.
Colonel, I agree. The Colonel, I agree. Waffle House for the Atlanta United sleeve sponsor. That would be good. 2020, you got a Waffle House on the sleeve. That'd be work. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah. I think there's something we have to talk about, at least in some form or fashion. And it's been a wild last few days for talking about things or doing things that I would have never expected I would be doing, especially on a microphone. I never thought I would be like broadcasting a parade and talking about what's going on in a parade. That was not something I expected to ever get a chance to do. I didn't ever expect to talk about where the MLS Cup trophy ended up last night either. If you follow some players on social media, you know where it ended up. It is a very Atlanta thing to end up at Magic City Monday, and that's where the trophy ended up last night. Good on you. Have fun. You deserved it. That's very Atlanta, and that's hilarious to me. And this will get lots of laughs around the country, I'm sure.
If they know what Magic City is, and then they'll learn.
They'll figure it out real fast.
Oh yeah, it's not. This is not the Da Vinci Code. This is not going to take you 5 chapters to figure out.
No, it's not.
You're going to figure this out real fast.
It's really not, but it's out there, and the people who follow lots of players on social media saw that was the case pretty quickly last night. So, yeah. That's where we're at in the celebration. I don't think it's full Ovechkin yet. I don't think. I don't know. That was a little extreme, so I don't think it's going to get there. It doesn't feel like this group is full Ovechkin, but we'll see.
Feels like Tito's going to be that guy up at somebody, though. Man.
Oh yeah, he was a happy man.
Tito was another level.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Apparently, Chris McCann and Jeff Larentowicz are the most active dads on the face of the earth when it comes to letting loose and asking for beer. And somebody threw Jeff Larentowicz a flask yesterday, and he was so
I didn't see that one. Wow.
Yeah, near the end of the parade. Well, they're asking for beer, and somebody throws McCann a beer, or throws a beer. Jeff catches it, tosses it to McCann, and McCann just annihilates it.
Well, and I think we also have to give some credit. I believe it was a Heyman Ale from our friends Dukes and Bell that was tossed up there, and McCann downed it.
I didn't know it was physically possible to extract beer that quickly from that small of an opening in the beer can.
I mean, where is Chris McCann from?
Yeah, this is the same reason like when there was like a tussle on the field during one game. It's like, yeah, I'm not fighting Chris McCann. He's bigger than you are. He's from Dublin. I'm not sure which stretch of Dublin he's from. But I'm not taking that risk. not fighting Chris McCann. Chris McCann is, is probably on. He's going to be on brand about these things, and he was on brand yesterday. And then somebody threw a flask at Jeff Larenowitz, and he just destroyed it and tossed it back. I don't know if it ended up with its original owner. I don't know that he cared because he got what was inside of it. I think I saw a picture at one point. Somebody, I think like Mikey Ambrose, was being fed Fireball.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that one.
By a fellow player. It's like, and I have to remind myself, can Mikey Ambrose drink? Oh, yeah, he's of age. He doesn't look it. Yeah. Chris Goslin looks like he might be older than Mikey Ambrose.
Yes, but he is not.
No, he's not.
Look, the work that goes in to the accomplishment that we saw play out on the field Saturday night. These guys get to let loose and have some fun, and they are,
absolutely.
And they 100% deserve it. And for a guy like Parkey, who has been so close so many times, enjoy every single second of it, because you've got a little bit of time to do that. A little bit, not a lot. You get a little bit of time to get away. I believe we saw some of the guys actually head back to Argentina on vacation. I think Remetti and Barco and LGP, I believe, might have already hopped on a flight. So this is a chance for everybody to kind of get away, recharge, enjoy what they accomplished, and then come back in ready to go with a new manager in January. It's not that long. It's not that far away. So lots of things to happen between now and then, and we'll try to keep you up to date with all of it as it happens. Michael Parkhurst being re-signed is a big one. Miguel Almiron's potential transfer is a massive one. Any other moves that might happen in the league, nobody saw the Darlington Nagbe move coming last year before it did. No reason why another move like that might not happen. And the manager.
And Jimmy tells us it was Chris McCann tipping back a bottle of Fireball for Ambrose. So there you go.
Well, there you
go. The brand
go.
stays consistent.
Yeah.
Chris McCann can never leave. He can never leave Atlanta. He might stop playing, but he can't leave.
It was great to see everybody get that moment yesterday, and to get that love and that feeling, to see the players get to join into the chants and the songs. That was maybe one of the fun things for me, was they never get that opportunity, and somebody tosses Tito a drum and he's going to take full advantage and go at it. And he was pretty good. So it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. It will continue to be a lot of fun celebrating this accomplishment, because it's a big deal. There will be other folks in the club getting down to business, as you have to at this time of year. We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about more of your Tuesday thoughts on the other side of the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket, you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath.
He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties.
He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
You're listening to Soccer Down Here daily on SDH Networks, a division of OSG Sports. Find us at Soccer Down Here on Facebook and Twitter. The time is now the top of the hour. Peep, y'all.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Soccer Down Here, December 11th. Still talking about a championship in Atlanta, which is always fun to do because it hasn't come around very often. Jason Longshore, Jarrett Smith with you this morning. John Nelson's talking high school football. I think the first games just kicked off. A whole bunch of games at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And I know a lot of people ask about why the parade on a Monday, why so quick. You didn't have another time to do it. You literally did not, because the Benz is booked up all day today and tomorrow. You've got the Celebration Bowl on Saturday. There was no other opportunity. And I think, this time window of the way the MLS, off season starts so quick, you kind of needed to do it as soon as possible. If you hold off later, you could have had trades happen. You could have had other moves happen. You could have had things happen, and then it's even more awkward. But it all came out pretty well. And I know a lot of people wanted to throw shade because there was a parade being planned before the title was lifted. Well, you can't do that kind of parade and that kind of day if you don't plan ahead of time. I mean, Arthur Blank has juice in this town, but I don't think Arthur Blank's shutting down downtown streets on not even 48 hours notice. I don't think he's got that kind of juice. You got to plan for these things. Everything came off really well yesterday. I thought it was the perfect cap to it. And Darren Eales dropping the Andre 3000, the South's got something to say. Woo! I love it.
Lean into the city, man. I mean, everyone leans in.
I mean, Darren's a guy that we know is not afraid to say some very bold things.
Nope.
He was having some fun yesterday. That was good. That was fun to see.
Yeah, he's never been afraid to be that guy, to jump right in and have those conversations. And it's really nice when he is that way. Like, that he is, so willing to just kind of to jump in and shout out to him as well. And the fact that, we get done with stuff for his accessibility. We get done with stuff with the players after the locker room and all that jazz. They kick us out of the locker room finally last night, and we're like, our shoes are soaked because we just walked through 3 inches of Heineken and champagne through the locker room, and we're on the way out. And Eales takes about 8 or 10 minutes to sit there and talk to a couple of us after everything's said and done. Doesn't really go into the off season, but is willing to talk for a few minutes about the season and about how all this came together. It was really, really nice that he was able to, take the time to do that, because I think it would have been easy for him to say, "No, we're going to go find something else to drink."
Yeah. I think he probably did that after he was done talking to you guys, but.
Oh yeah, for sure. He had 1 foot tapping the whole time, I think, ready to take that turn and go find the next bottle. I don't blame him at all. I mean, again, you built this team. You had a hand in building this team. You and your team built this up, and in 2 years, you won a title. You can go drink whatever.
Absolutely. You can go take advantage of that. Let's get into another aspect from yesterday that a lot of people have had questions about. Andrew Carlton. Michael had asked about the celebration yesterday. Carlton, the name was not announced. His number was skipped. He wasn't on stage. What in the world did he do to deserve such harsh punishment? I don't know what he did. I did not see the Snapchats. I don't do Snapchat. That one was my one social media thing that just never clicked with me. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. But we talked about it Sunday. This is something that this club has been very, very serious about in terms of behavior in these types of situations. The Barco punishment for a lot of people felt harsh. This was on the eve of a final. Whatever happened, and I don't know. I honestly don't. I don't think Trey Morrison takes a step further. He says that treatment felt like the club, quote, stepping away from him. I get a consequence, but that felt like a banishment. Has he been exiled? Did he kill someone? No, I think he just did something that the club did not agree with at all. And you can't do that on the eve of a final, whether you're going to play or not. And I don't think, I've seen speculation that he would have been part of the 18. I don't think he would have been. I maybe instead of Vasquez, maybe, but that's a big maybe. I don't think he was going to be part of the 18. I don't think he would have done whatever he did. I've just seen partying is the word that I've seen to describe it. I don't think he would have done that if he was going to play in an MLS Cup final the next day at all. So, however, in Atlanta, we've had a history of things happening the nights before games. And I don't think it's anything like what Eugene Robinson did, but there is a sensitivity to making bad decisions before a championship game. And there should be. There absolutely should be. I don't know. I don't know what he did, so I can't say if the treatment's harsh or not at all. And I don't really think anybody else can either. But go back to the way Barco was handled, and that was a very strong statement about behavior. This probably falls along those lines. Not the same transgression, but you get what I'm saying about behavior being very important in this club.
Yeah, I think it is. And I mean, look, it sounds like he got punished for whatever he did wrong. But the thing I'll beat home on it is, like, look, we don't know what it is, so we're not going to speculate as to what it is. But it doesn't have to be the end of the world for him. He's still a kid. You can learn from your mistakes. That's okay. Stuff happens. And I think you can learn from them and, take a step, in the right direction going forward and just kind of rebound from this. Doesn't have to be the end. It can be it's a learning experience, and kids make mistakes. It happens. So just, you enjoy the championship. That's a harsh punishment. And hopefully that came through was, this was your punishment. That was harsh. Yeah, it was. So whatever it was, don't do it.
Well, it makes what we've thought coming in that this was going to be a huge 2019 for Andrew Carleton and his professional development. It puts more pressure on him. It does put more pressure on him to deliver in the way that I think people think he has the capability to do in 2019. We saw.
I'd argue it still was a big developmental year for him in 2018.
Oh, no, it was. And I think we saw it firsthand with USL late in the season and his performances there, and watching him grow up there and take on more responsibility with a team and be the guy. But 2019 is a massive year where you get to a point a few years into a club, a few years into your professional career, where I don't know if it's put up or shut up time, but this happening might accelerate that decision. It does come into play, and there will be more talent coming. That's the thing that Atlanta United is creating. You're going to bring in top talent from outside, but you're also going to try to develop top talent from within. So you're going to get pushed, and the best will survive it and will play with this team and play with this team for a long time. The ones who are not at that level will move on. That's the standard that Atlanta United is setting. That's what big clubs do. So this is not a good thing for him, obviously, to miss out on all this. And we will see what effect it has in 2019 for him.
I would love to see him bounce back in a way that he kind of gets angry about it and decides to just, to basically destroy whatever lays in his path in 2019. Harness it in a good way. It's totally possible.
It is, and I hope he comes back and wants to right this. Whatever happened, whatever the transgression was, hopefully it is a minor one. Hopefully he is back in 2019 and shows the promise that we have all seen at different points in his career. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So basically, the thing about Carlton is we really don't know anything else. So we could go round and round about it, but nobody really knows what happened and what the decision was, and if anything had happened prior to that to lead into the decision on the punishment. So we're kind of spinning our wheels there. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with him and with the club and everything moving forward. I do not think that it was something where he was no longer part of the club yesterday. As we kind of went around about it, I don't think that's the case. He is under contract for 2019, so let's not jump to that conclusion just yet, and let's see what happens. This is a young man who is learning how to be a professional soccer player, and that is not just an on the field kind of thing. It does include an off the field component, especially for a club that is as high profile as Atlanta United. So we will see what happens with Andrew Carlton going forward. We will keep you posted and let you know. Let's move on to a couple more Tuesday thoughts after this. And, while we're here, this is something to mention because I noticed it too. Josh Eisenberg says, did y'all catch the Barco-Brandon Vasquez hug after the final? Seems there's been good progress in that relationship. I've noticed that multiple times after games, at least in the postseason. So I think even the San Jose game. So, yeah, I think everything is fine on that. I don't think there's any issues with that moving forward. It's what professional teams do. That's what adults do, to be honest. Let's just be real. Let's take the soccer team component out of it. It does happen. People do move on, and people do realize mistakes were made and move on. So I noticed it. It's been good to see, and it really hasn't had much of an effect on this team at all. Shiva has go ahead. I think
we're going to see the same thing where, look, I know you've had the discussions about whether it's Pity Martinez and Guillermo Barros-Schelotto taking over this club, and they were on opposite sides of the line for the match Sunday. And I don't think that match is going to impact any potential relationship they would have if that's your manager and new player coming in.
That's absolute silliness to say.
I know. I'm just.
Pity Martinez was not with the Barra Brava guys who were banned from the game throwing things at the Boca bus. He was preparing for a match. To say that they can't work together because of stuff that happened with a bus and a rivalry off the field in another country. Come on, let's slow our roll there. This is going to be an interesting decision on the manager. This is maybe the biggest thing Atlanta United's done in its time. Tata Martino was a big one and an unexpected one. Now you've got to hire somebody who can take not a blank slate and make it the way you want, but take a group that is already together and either adjust their tactics to fit the group or make the group adjust to fit their tactics. So this is a huge one. And we've seen Schelotto, we've seen Sampaoli, we've seen Gabriel Milito as the latest three to be mentioned. We have heard that Alan Pardew was at the game, and Alan Pardew did not say that he was there or not there to talk about the club, which to me sounds like Alan Pardew wanting his name to be mentioned in a tabloid report. But who knows? This is a job that every top manager would be interested in, and they should be. So it would not surprise me if there was interest from managers of Alan Pardew's ilk. Doesn't mean they're going to be hired. And I think a hiring, I would assume, would happen sooner rather than later because of everything that goes into this offseason. I think you'd want to make that appointment as soon as you can, but also, most importantly, get the person that you want to run this team going forward.
Yeah, I think Eels had talked about wanting to get it done ASAP in December. To get this settled, get this out of the way, start putting things in place and getting into motion and getting chemistry in line.
Before we go to break, Shiva has a Tito Villalba update from the parade. Shiva was our I-team. Said, South Americans know how to party, specifically or especially Tito. I followed the bus from start to finish, and he was hyped the whole time. Love him, full of energy, off and on the pitch. Yeah, you watch the way he plays. You watch the way he runs specifically. There is no surprise that he was the one with the goggles and bandanas and screaming and playing drums and spraying everybody with champagne or Heineken or both and all of those things. No surprise that he was that guy.
Tito is not to be trifled with.
No, not at all.
We've been over this before for multiple reasons. One thing, you don't want to fight Tito, but
no,
don't fight someone from Tito's neighborhood. Just don't.
No.
But aside from that, Tito is having fun because he won MLS Cup. I'd be having fun too.
Absolutely. Let's go to break. Let's come back. More Tuesday thoughts after this.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski and Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as legal elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here, December 11th, Tuesday Thoughts. Jason Longshore, Jarrett Smith with you this morning. Joe McCurdy, our friend from CNN International, says, back to the parade. I was wonderfully amazed how the crowd watching the parade organically filled in behind the players' bus, joined the parade, and walked to the stadium. Every second, fans were throwing things up to be signed. Yeah, that was really cool. When we started it, if you followed me on Instagram, I was trying to throw up a bunch of pictures as things progressed. We were right behind the Fox Sports South van, and that was right behind the bus. By the time we got to the stadium, we were 200 yards back from the bus because people just filed in and just marched along with everybody. It became a march rather than a parade, and that was so cool. And credit to the Atlanta cops. The Atlanta police for handling it and realizing, this is okay. This is good. We're gonna let this go, and we're gonna let this moment happen. And it was very cool to see. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen around the country for these moments for soccer in this country. Atlanta dared to dream that it could. Arthur Blank said, no, this is going to be big. I'm not building a suburban 20,000-seat stadium. I am going to do this big. Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to fill it. I don't know. Well, he did. And I want this to be the norm for soccer in this country. I'm hoping that this happens. I'm going to call people out when they say that Detroit is making a mistake, moving their expansion bid from a stadium on the outskirts to Ford Field. I am going to call people out for being afraid that soccer is not good enough in this country. I will, because it is, because we're seeing it here. If it's done in a first-class way, and it's done with commitment, and it's done with passion, it can be as big as it wants to be. And, yeah, I know there are polls out there Josh Eisenberg shared one with us from 680 The Fan, and there have been other polls and there have been other conversations about, well, is this a real big championship? Does it mean anything compared to the other championships? The comparison thing is stupid. It's just, no, you're pitting sports against one another. You wouldn't do that with the Hawks or the Braves towards the Falcons. And we know this is a Falcon city. This is an NFL city. This is a football town, and that's completely fine. Stop trying to compare and say one is better than the other, one is not better than the other. And this goes on the soccer side too. This is a big deal because you saw it was a big deal for 73,000 people in the building, for the 11.5 local rating on TV, for the people at Sport and Social where it looked like a Super Bowl crowd or, a Braves World Series game, watching the first goal and the eruption that happened there, at watch parties all over the region. Look, this was a big deal, and just the sheer numbers show you that. Who cares if somebody who doesn't get it thinks it wasn't as big as if the Braves won the World Series? It's their loss to not experience this. So that's on them. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about comparing it. Just enjoy it and continue to enjoy it and continue to know that this is what soccer in this country can be. And that's what I keep coming back to.
If you had fun, that's what matters.
Yeah, and know that other cities can have this too. If ownership groups do things in the right way, if they put in the work to engage in the community, if they treat it in a first-class way, all of those things that go into it, it is not just spending money. It is not. And I really bristle at that fact because there are clubs who have spent money in this league before and did not get this. Because this is not just a great roster on the field and success. This is the special thing that we see and we talk about with Atlanta and Atlanta United and Atlanta soccer being a family. This is different. So that takes time to cultivate. And Atlanta was able to do it quickly because they put in that time early on. Other clubs have to try to learn from these things and don't just say we can't spend that money. And I don't want people to use that as an excuse. The excuses have to stop for soccer in this country.
Yeah, they do. They have to stop. When you look around, it's not just Atlanta winning a title in its second year. I think, I think you look at what LAFC built in year one. Look, hey, remember LAFC put up numbers. You didn't see the attendance numbers you saw in Atlanta, which their stadium limits. You saw numbers on the field that were damn impressive. You've seen Red Bulls turn around their franchise and change the entire paradigm into the best regular season we had ever seen. And they deserve much more credit from local support in terms of the fans and in terms of especially the media up there. I mean, you're seeing growth all over the place. That's awesome.
They have to figure out, and this is a question for the people who support that team and the team itself. They have to figure out why they're not getting that support. Why are you not getting a full Red Bull Arena, and why are you not getting the coverage in the local media? Stop with the excuses and figure out why and work to change it. Because a lot of those excuses are things that were said about Atlanta too. And we haven't seen that happen here. So that's my mission statement for soccer in the country at this point is stop with the excuses, actually look and figure out what is working and what is not. And let's go. Let's go. This should be the start of MLS 4.0, where it is not a soccer bubble to the side. It is soccer is as big as anything else in this country, and stop thinking it isn't. Stop with the inferiority complex. Stop with the small time mentality, and think big and act big and be big. That's simple. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. If you have been part of what's been happening here in Atlanta and you see it, you get it. You get what it can be. And I hope others do too. Stop with the excuses. It was really interesting as I was reading the Reddit thread in the Portland Timbers subreddit, and people were asking about thoughts from people who came to the match about Mercedes-Benz Stadium. There was some really ridiculous thoughts, I thought. There were a few. You know, the usual stuff. And the people who would call it plastic no matter what, and that type of nonsense. Discount that because that's silly. There were a couple thoughts that were interesting comparing like match day atmosphere at Providence Park to Mercedes-Benz. And I think some people who really put thought into it realize that you're not going to have the same match day atmosphere in a 75,000 seat stadium versus a 21,000 seat stadium. You're not. You can't. It's just like a band who plays in a club versus a band who plays in a stadium. You have to act differently. When you move up into a bigger venue, you have to do things to project to the people on the last row. So, yeah, you have to have video work. You have to have PA. You have to have these things that play a bigger role in a bigger venue. And I think the people who thought about it got that. And the other thing I did like from the people who thought about it was, look, this is working. Maybe it's not Portland. Maybe it's not Colorado or Chicago. But what would you rather have? An empty Toyota Park in Bridgeview, Illinois with your, and I'm doing the air quotes that are so important here, the authentic football atmosphere, if you're one of those types. Or would you rather have 73,000 for MLS Cup in Atlanta and people enjoying themselves and really having fun? You know, again, you probably want the bigger crowd. So, just saying.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, and there's always going to be criticism. I mean, I had people in my mentions about the tifos. Like, we expected better. I'm like, okay. I don't know what to tell you.
What did you expect then? If we're going to just start this nonsense about like, I expected better.
Well, there isn't an answer.
Exactly. When did you? Let's see your TIFO PhD, and what did you expect? Because there is no answer to that. Stop hating. Stop being that guy. It's or that girl. It happens both ways. Just stop. Just stop.
Look, it always comes across to me as stop enjoying that thing you're enjoying.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's a special thing, and yes, we play We Ready before kickoff. Deal with it. Yeah, there are other piped in elements. Oh no, that's not okay. That's not how it goes in other places. They shouldn't do that. It's working. It's going pretty well. Deal with
Kim McCauley said it really well.
Yeah,
that,
I thought she was great.
The idea of playing We Ready with 73,000 cell phone lights, it feels authentic and it feels like Atlanta football culture, Atlanta soccer culture. Your culture doesn't have to be appropriated from Europe or South America for it to be an authentic atmosphere where you're at. And Atlanta United playing We Ready and people doing the cell phone lights, it's what we are. It's what it is here. Just let it be.
Exactly. If you are on the outside and complaining about it, stop. Go build your authentic culture. And just realize that you as an individual, your individual idea of what the football culture for 15, 20, 25, 30, whatever your crowd is, might not be what that crowd wants. You're not more important than the crowd. What is happening here is a collective thing that is very special, and it's very cool. And it's cool for Atlanta. And if you dropped it into another city, yeah, it might not work the same way. Atlanta is Atlanta. It is what it is, and it works here. Don't copy it. Don't go drop We Ready into your place and think it's going to work the same way. Stop. Just sit back and say, something is working. keep doing what you're doing and keep improving upon it and keep letting it evolve. And it's a good thing for the game in this country. Stop trying to find something to complain about. That's where I'm at with it. So let's take a break. Let's come back. More Tuesday Thoughts after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. That's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Appolinsky & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Appolinsky at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Appolinsky is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath.
He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties.
He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Welcome back. Soccer Down Here, December 11th, Tuesday Thoughts edition of the show. Jason Longshore, Jarrett Smith with you. John Nelson is away on high school football duty. Dan Murphy with a question, and I don't know the answer, actually. Great season, lads. Conquered, and I met Dan at the Peach Kit, but long time, first time. Thanks for listening, Dan. Appreciate it, and good to hear from you again. Question. I first saw the flashlights in the Chape match after the plane crash. They did it in the 71st minute to honor all 71 who died. Is that why we do it then? If so, amazing. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why it started at that point in the match. And is it consistently at the same portion of the match? I know it's around it. I know it's around that time, but I don't know how that got started, honestly.
I know a lot of sports do that nowadays. Yeah. They do it up at SunTrust Park. Turner Field will never die. They do it up at SunTrust Park. Like they'll do it's a really cool effect because of the way lights are nowadays. Stadium lights, you can play with a lot more than you used to be able to. It's not like the 20-minute warm-up time anymore. But they'll turn down the lights at SunTrust, and people will chop with the light with the cell phone lights, and leave your notions about the chop at the door for just a moment with this, please. But it is a cool look when they do it. So you get the cell phones and the chop. But I know it's more popular around sport these days, which I'm great with, because if that means we're replacing Seven Nation Army or Sandstorm, we're making progress. But it might be. I gotta go back and check and see when that actually starts with the lights, because that I hadn't thought about that. That might actually be it.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. I mean, the first time I remembered it was last year in the knockout round game against Columbus, and I vaguely remember some stories going around at that time about it being an accident, that it was somebody at the capo stand did it, and then other people saw it and started doing it around the building, and it grew. I don't know if it's just been completely random or if there's meaning behind it. So if anybody wants to fill us in, please do. That would be good to know.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't don't know the facts behind this. Chris Burns asks, assuming MLS teams are nothing like the U.S. men's national team, how long do clubs have to get coaching hires figured out, particularly Atlanta United? There's not really a timeline on it.
This is the U.S. national team. It won't take Atlanta 18 months. It's okay.
Yeah, I hope not. That would be very, very bad.
If it does, we're going to have some amazing shows in the next 18 months.
No, we're not. I don't want to be doing that. It might happen, but no, I'm going to think not. I'm going to think it would be probably less than 18 days, to be honest, before we see a new manager for Atlanta United. I think they're going to want to make this happen as fast as possible. Training camp will open mid to late January. So I don't know if the dates have been dropped yet in that regard. You're going to want somebody in as soon as possible before that, because you want them to be able to create a plan and get to know this group and study and all that.
Also, if they want to make, say I want to bring in so-and-so, if that's possible, you got to actually start looking at making moves in and out, because your season starts sooner than everyone else's.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes down, but I definitely think it will be quicker and it'll happen as soon as possible, just because it is such a big thing going forward. It's such an important move, and you just want to have as much time as possible to get that done. Let's see if we have any other Tuesday thoughts here before we bring on a special guest. Scrolling. Yes. There he is, Joe Patrick from Dirty South Soccer. What's up, Joe?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
It's one of those days where we're kind of like maybe 50% charged, maybe, and we're trying to get caught up.
That's generous.
It's been a wild last few days. I don't know how you feel at this point, but yeah, it's been wow.
It's been crazy. So the night of the final, or I should just say the next morning, I went to bed when the sun was up at 7:30 in the morning.
I saw there was a cookout stop involved.
There was a cookout stop. There was cookout.
God bless you.
And then there was some more work to do after that. Kind of unfortunately, but also I couldn't focus afterwards. It was probably the hardest columns I'd had to write or articles I'd had to write after a game, because I was just so kind of swept up in the emotion of it all, and then 7:30 bedtime, and then a 9:30 wake up for the trade window, which I was anticipating something happening, but silly me. It was pretty funny. I enjoyed like all the bloggers being very upset that they had to wake up, that they didn't get to sleep until noon that day.
To be fair, we had an argument at that point. We'd all been awake forever.
Yeah, I know. You guys were in that boat. I mean, yeah, it was. But I think kind of when you're in that sleep deprived state, you're just running on a delirious level. You're just kind of in a what is that, flow state? Where it's just like. Yes. You're just moving, and I was very productive that Sunday. We still had a lot of news coming in about various things, and then yesterday actually was when it all kind of hit me. And yesterday was just like I was no good to the world.
Yeah, I was not able to be that. I woke up at 4:30 because I was excited about a parade. It was honestly that for me, and then just. That gave me so much energy yesterday. Then I crashed completely after all that energy left my body. But that was such an amazing experience. And just the fact that, the team was so kind in allowing us to be a part of it. I mean, we were the caboose. We were the caboose of the parade. And got to trail along and be part of it. It was very cool and very special. And, I think, Joe, you get this too, like just hearing from fans who who get a chance to appreciate your work and be part of all of this. It's really rewarding.
Yeah, and I think it goes around. It is rewarding. That is why, like just speaking for myself and others at Dirty South Soccer, like those comments and that kind of feedback. That's why we do this, because it's not like we're doing it for money. Yeah, I mean, that's why we're just fans. We're fans like everybody else. We try to approach our fandom in a different way. When we're, especially as a reporter, as a journalist for the site. We try to kind of rein it in a bit and try to give you an objective perspective on what's going on. But yeah, I mean, that is kind of what we live for. So it's great to hear that from people, and they go things. It's funny how it's all cyclical, because I said the same thing to, team staff who helped me, do my job throughout the year. And I was very happy, after the game. I was actually down on the field with Jarrett and Mena, just kind of taking some pictures and soaking in all the environment and everything. And Tata came out. I don't know where he was coming from, but he walked out onto the field, with just to spend some time with the communication staff at Atlanta United and some of the digital folks. And so I was very happy about that, because I got a chance to go up and thank him personally, just for, everything he's done for Atlanta, done for me, just, in my role. And so that was very special, because I didn't think I was going to get that chance to do that. I knew from having experienced MLS All-Star Game that it's just a different post-game experience after these games than there would be for a normal regular season game, and even just a regular playoff game is a little more hectic. But I knew that I probably wasn't going to be able to, ask a question, or even if I could ask a question, I wouldn't want it to be like personal at all between me and Tata. I would want it to be totally professional. So I was never going to have like a time to say that to him, and I was worried. So I sent Justin Velhuis a text just saying that morning, saying like, hey, if you could just pass this message along to Tata from me, just to say, thanks for everything he's done. That'd be great. So I was really happy to be able to see him afterwards and just kind of, give him one more last little handshake and a bit of a hug before, he's on to his next thing. So it was just a really, really special night all around. And in the days since, it's been, it's felt honestly just as special, just with, like you said, the reaction from everybody, and everybody's just kind of sharing the love, and it's just been wonderful. Yeah, it's been a really cool thing. Okay, a couple questions before we go to break. Get you caught up on where a Tuesday Thoughts episode of the show has been. For a sleeve sponsor, potentially, for Atlanta United in the future, there have been efforts to make Waffle House this. Would you back this? I would back it. I do not think the club would back it. The club is, they are very professional. And
what are you saying about Waffle House, sir?
It's authentic. It's authentic. They would need to change the color a bit. They would need to tweak the yellow to a gold. Yes. But
I think you're being told to choose your next words carefully.
They could have some good branding, though, with like the All-Star Special type thing going on.
Oh, there you go. That's a nice recovery, Joe. Skyline Chili, what are your thoughts?
As a sleeve sponsor?
No, for Cincinnati. They are the official chili partner of FC Cincinnati.
That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we have Brewster's as an ice cream partner, like everybody should be trying to get as many food partners, specific food partnerships as they can. And yeah, Skyline makes a ton of sense. I've been to Cincinnati. I have family in Ohio, and it's like Skyline is kind of like it's kind of like their Waffle House, I guess. It's just like, it makes perfect sense for them.
Yeah, I think we've all decided that Waffle House is the equivalent in culturally of Skyline in Cincinnati. I think it's the only one that really matches it. Maybe the Varsity in some ways, but the Varsity isn't as big and widespread.
Yeah, it's like
Jared, wait a minute. I heard that reaction. So now you're gonna blast Chick-fil-A and the Varsity in the same episode of Soccer Down Here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I blasted the Varsity and Peachtree Post.
Man. Jarrett _Smith on social media, folks.
Come on. Bring it. No one lives forever.
Wow. Let's see. Were there any other?
I respect
debates?
Skyline's dedication to the game, by just putting chili on spaghetti, which is something I had never seen before in my life.
Yeah, that's a bold move. That is definitely a bold move. Crazy. Like the craziest thing about that whole announcement for me was that when they added Skyline just as a concession option late this season, those posts were the most engaged with on social media, like for the month it was announced. They won a championship during the regular season in that month. It was all about the Skyline chili.
I think it just shows, to be perfectly honest about this, it just shows how much people relate and connect to their local culture, and success of the team is one thing, but if they can, if part of the team, if they can kind of relate to it somehow, it's just such a huge draw for fans, and it makes it feel like theirs. And I think that's why Atlanta United's been so successful, is because they've found those kinds of things to connect the club to the fans, and make it feel, as real and authentic and theirs. They try to make it the communities as much as the club themselves, in terms of just the brand and the feel and the kind of just ownership of Atlanta United in general.
Yeah, it's feeling local. That's authentic. We went round and round about what's authentic, what's not plastic, all that type of stuff. I think being locally authentic is the most important thing. And Skyline being part of FC Cincinnati, yeah. If it's not, it doesn't feel as authentic in Cincinnati, and that's what's important.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and, I heard a little bit in your last segment talking about the Red Bulls especially, and Red Bulls, maybe that seems like something where maybe is lacking a bit. They're not pulling people in that way. They're not pulling on people's heartstrings to come to the games. They're pulling on other aspects which aren't as emotional and strong of a pulls as, some of these things that make you feel, those emotional reasons why you go to games.
Yeah, it is a little different, and they have not been able to make that emotional connection. Let's take a break, reset. We'll come back. Joe's going to hang out with us for the rest of the show. We will get to all of your Tuesday thoughts in our final segment. Hang out with us. We'll be right back.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency, or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski & Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as legal elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
Welcome back. Final segment, Tuesday Thoughts edition of the show. December 11th, Jason Longshore, Jarrett Smith, Joe Patrick from Dirty South Soccer hanging out. We're going to try to finish off everything on a Tuesday Thoughts edition, all of your tweets. If you have any more, go ahead and throw them in right now. Trey Morrison has a different suggestion for a sleeve sponsor that we will not repeat, but I don't think it's going to be very possible at all. Trey, nice one. But Joshua Eisenberg has one that would work. Just a waffle on the sleeve. Just a gold waffle. That could work for Waffle House.
Yeah. I don't see why not. There has to be a Belgian.
I just feel like the Waffle House logo would be more symbolic. It would be more of like a call out, because it's not. You don't want to confuse it with like Waffle King.
Oh, don't.
Or Denny's.
Waffle King.
That's blasphemy.
Man.
The Waffle King.
Exactly.
I remember when Waffle King tried to pop up on occasion, and it's like, really? What are you doing?
Yeah, you can't. No,
no.
This is not your
seat.
seat.
You don't want to be here, Waffle King. You don't want to hang out in this place.
You don't want this fight. I promise. You don't want this fight.
No, you don't want this. A couple things have come up about different aspects of the Atlanta United fan experience, and Kevin from Charlotte and Ricky Ricardo both chimed in about the cell phones, and I know we kind of call them fireflies a lot of times too. Kevin said the guy that started the cell phone lights was a Georgia fan who brought it from the UGA games when they do it in the fourth quarter. Ricky Ricardo said the first time he ever saw it was at Georgia. I know others have done it. I do remember kind of the first time I was aware of it was at a Georgia football game. But I remember seeing last year when it happened in the knockout round game, because that was the first time I saw it. So that would have been late October of 2017. I remember a story going around that it was kind of by accident, but then it just took hold. And then they added the "We Ready" chant to it, and it really took hold. And that was pretty cool. Do you know anything else about this, Joe?
No, I don't. I had heard the same thing as you, that it had started at a Georgia.
I'm glad
I think
not
that's
crazy, because
I think that's what I think Kevin Cheek mentioned that. He was kind of the one on the capo stand when it started, like the first time, and I think he said that he had been to a Georgia game where someone had done that, so he kind of just tried it and it just took off like crazy, like wildfire. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'd heard too, but I'd never seen it with my own eyes until Atlanta United fans started doing it. So very cool. It's like one of the best things that happens. I hope I would like just my personal preference, I would prefer it not to be like an every game thing. I would kind of like it to be reserved for like really special moments or like, that kind of thing. Like I don't know if I'd want to see it. I don't know. I don't want to say anything that gets people all up in a tussle and tell people
J.A.
how
Patrick
to
200 on Twitter if you're getting riled up.
But to me, I just think in general, like just like save certain things for special occasions. Makes them more
impressed
special.
how many hills we're planning to die on today.
Seriously, this is a much bolder show than I expected coming in. Michael Ruiz has one for you, Joe.
Maybe John is the weight that keeps this balloon down.
I think he takes all of the heat is what happened, so it's not spread out. Michael Ruiz says, if Everton can have Angry Birds as a sleeve sponsor, why can't we have Waffle House?
Well, that presumes that Angry Birds is a good sleeve sponsor.
That's a good point.
Which is very strange. It's a very strange sleeve sponsor.
It is a little odd. Jonathan Hilliard is chiming in for King of Pops as a sleeve sponsor.
Yes, that's fine.
I like that.
See, y'all are on board with King of, and I like King of Pops, but there is a big difference between King of Pops and Waffle House.
Yeah, well, you know what? Don't just do Waffle House. Go right after Cincinnati's Heart and do Bert's Chili.
Oh, that would actually be a mic dropping kind of moment. Ooh.
They're going to hate us in Cincinnati. My God, they're going to hate us.
Yeah, well, Cincinnati's going to have it out with Nashville. That's the way I see that going down. Cincinnati and Nashville will and Columbus, not be friendly. Yeah, Cincinnati-Columbus is already not friendly, so those will be really good. I'm down with those completely. Let's have a real question here, a real serious question from Eric Schwartz that we have not gotten to yet, and it's a great one. Help me with some perspective. Was there another championship that represented the elevation of a league like this? Best comparison I can come up with is Super Bowl III with Joe Namath. Obviously, MLS isn't at the top, but is there a larger league sea change than this? That's a great question because I think it could be that Super Bowl III moment where it captured the national, just everything at that moment. Because the first two Super Bowls were meh. That one was a huge talking point. You had the big upset. From then on, the Super Bowl was a cultural moment in this country. Is it as big as that? Time will tell. But this did feel like a difference in how MLS Cup and how the league can be presented going forward. I hope it is anyway.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, like every Super Bowl has been like the largest broadcast in television history aside from the finale of MASH, which is always great trivia.
Yeah.
But like, no, but I mean, the scale has always been there. So, man, Super Bowl III fits. I don't know what else would, honestly.
Yeah, I would need to kind of go back and look at, history. And I know that I'll call something out. And this is not like, this is not going to be perfectly, in line with this analogy or with this question. But for me, it felt like when I got into the NBA with Michael Jordan, and I know that obviously the NBA was huge before that with, other athletes. So it's not along those lines, but I do feel like the way that TV broadcasters were able to package Michael Jordan as this star, on a different level, I think, than kind of the way they'd packaged basketball before that. I think we kind of saw a change in the way in basketball, the way it was presented to an audience at that time. And like I said, it's not like taking a league from a lower level to a higher level, but I think it's just like a monumental shift in kind of the way that the TV producers at least package the product.
Yeah, I will go back. The comparison I would have, or what it could be, is the '84 NBA Finals, because I think that was the first one with Bird versus Magic, and Lakers Celtics,
and like Lakers,
because you had. I mean, the NBA had been around for a long time up to that point. It had had a lot of problems in the '70s. You had Bird and Magic come into the league and really start to change the narrative. That finals, while it was a huge one, like it's not Super Bowl III. And I think this could be the comparison for this MLS Cup where everything past it feels bigger because of that one.
Yeah, I think that's about right. That's a better analogy for this question for sure.
Hopefully that's the case, and we'll kind of just have to wait and see how things go. Kevin from Charlotte, I was kind of in this boat as we were calling the game. Only way I could pace myself at the game on Saturday after we got the first goal was breaking it down in 10 and 5-minute intervals. Was constantly telling myself, just get to the 55th minute, then the 65th minute, then the 75th minute. Still can't believe it's over. Once we got the second goal, I felt good. Once we got to the 80th minute with the second goal, I was comfortable at that point. I wasn't as worried.
Yeah, I kind of, so I was with MLS. I was writing for MLS, so I was with their crew of writers, which are all.
I was wondering why you abandoned us.
Yeah, they're all national guys. So they're being impartial, or actually they're pretty much rooting for Portland to try to, make it a closer game. But yeah, around sometime in that last 10-minute period, like 82nd, 83rd minute, I just kind of shut down my laptop and just to take it in, I was like, okay, I'm not going to work here for a bit, and just observe. And so I think that it's safe to say that was kind of the moment where I kind of knew they were going to get it.
Yeah, like 50% of that press box broke the no cheering rule on the second goal, by the way. At least 50%.
It happens. It's a fine.
Like Franco puts that ball in, you hear this from the rest of the press box. I look over, I'm like, oh, yeah. I guess that makes sense.
Well, they warned us about the champagne party. They were like that was in like the 60-something minute. It was like, wow, it feels early for this announcement. They were basically saying like the Atlanta United was have the champagne and et cetera, et cetera. Nice. Expect to get wet is what they said.
So basically, it turned into a Shamu show. Like you will get wet if you sit here, whatever.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah,
much.
That was wild. I'll never forget the smell.
Oh God!
Oh wow!
Plastic and beer.
I'm gonna throw away my 92.9 shirt, I think, or frame it. One of the two, because it just smells like Heineken still.
Yeah, the memento that I kept that I will definitely do some kind of framing for, and it's not something that's like that big of a deal, to be honest. The lineup sheet. We get a copy of the lineup sheet, and different teams do it different ways. A lot of teams do the printout of the Opta graphic, which isn't as exciting. I like the way they did it for this. They did a photocopy of the lineup sheet that was turned in, two-sided, but I wanted the Atlanta one, obviously. So I think I'll do a framing of that and some pictures from there, and maybe the media badge or something. I don't know. Yeah, it was special. Drew Gano said, he tweeted this. My journey with soccer started 44 years ago. Moving through life as a player, coach, and fan, it's no surprise that re-listening to Mike Conti 92.9's final call on Atlanta United MLS Cup win brought tears to my eyes. This is more than a team; it's family. That's what I keep coming back to. Is that it felt bigger than I think maybe anybody else would have thought. If you weren't from Atlanta, if you haven't been following this team, and it's not even being like from Atlanta, born and raised, if you haven't been part of Atlanta for any extended period of time, if Atlanta doesn't feel like home to you, then yeah, this game probably didn't have the same type of feeling as it did to others of us. It did have that transcendent kind of quality to it. Maybe it's just because it's the first time. Maybe it's the first championship. Maybe it's just where soccer is in Atlanta. Maybe it's the first time for an Atlanta championship in a long time. But it definitely was special, and it's something, I'll always remember lots of those little moments in the night for sure.
Yeah.
Because I still have a video I took of the end of the game. So I did a similar thing to Joe at about the 86th, 87th minute. I closed down my laptop, and I was sitting on the far end of the press box. Like, I almost had to take an Uber to get back to the meal area. And I just kind of packed up a lot of my stuff, took an iRig with me for video purposes, and started walking over to the broadcast booth, and then I still have a video I took, about a minute long, of Jason and Mike making the final call. Not that it matters, because the window is open, and as the final whistle blows, I'm going to get their final calls on video. No, I'm not. All I'm going to get is the screams of 73,000 people drowning out everything.
Yeah, there was that.
It was still a cool video, but it was I'm going to stop and do this. I'm going to enjoy the moment, but I'm going to try and capture as much of it at the same time while I'm watching it all happen.
Yeah, it was something. It was pretty special. We will kind of put a cap on everything tonight with our season with 92.9 The Game, with Stoppage Time Live tonight at Fido Irish Pub in Buckhead, our final episode of the season, in front of an audience anyway. I will probably have a couple here and there as things come up over the rest of the season back in the studio. But Julian Gressel joining us tonight at Fido in Buckhead. It could get crazy. It could be packed. Get there early if you're coming. I hopefully will have my seat saved. I'm not saving seats for anybody. Don't ask. And I have my escape route planned if things get out of hand.
Don't look at me. I got to be over. I got to be at the station, watching all this unfold from a safe distance.
Yeah, I don't think, unless plans have dramatically changed very recently, I don't think this is going to be on air, which is probably for the best. It will be on Facebook Live if you can't join us. But try to get down to Fido Irish Pub. Get there early. Joe, you coming down to join us?
I am. I will be there. I know that at least Josh Bagransky, one of our other Dirty South Soccer writers, will be there. And I think we just put out a call out for anyone else on our staff to come down and join us. So, yeah, if you see me, come introduce yourself. Love those shows, by the way. They're so much fun. Encourage anyone to come, even if it's not Julian Gressel that's going to be there. But when he is there, you definitely want to come.
I thought he was telling Julian Gressel not to come. It's oh, no, don't disinvite him.
Yeah, please don't do that. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Joe, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Jarrett, we'll be back tomorrow. John will still be calling high school football. We'll recap the expansion draft. I don't think it's going to be a crazy day in that regard. Free agency does open at 3 o'clock. You could see some moves there. We'll talk about it tonight on Stoppage Time Live. I don't think Atlanta's going to be crazy active in the free agency market, at least not straight away. Maybe a few other teams will be. We'll keep you posted. There's also talk that FC Dallas has figured out its next coach in Luchi Gonzalez, who's been running the academy. That's being reported by Univision in Dallas, so stay tuned on that. We'll keep you posted with everything that happens throughout the day on our Twitter accounts. Make sure you're following J.A. Patrick 200 and Dirty South SOC, Jarrett_Smith, Longshoe, and Soccer Down here. We're going to close out with, if you haven't heard it, the final 90 seconds of the match from our call on 92.9 The Game. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Mucha plata, y'all.
Mucha plata, y'all. I'm just going to be tweeting about my love of Chris McCann's drinking now.
Here's the final 90 seconds from the broadcast from Saturday night.
Maybe a minute left.
Little over a minute.
Martinez on a broken play in the 39th minute. It was Parkhurst, the captain, who started that one. Then Escobar crashing in on the back post in the 59th minute to put it away. Guzan's right to left goal kick. Again up to Villalba. Again headed up in the air. This time Escobar controls. It spins off of Chara. And down the middle comes Julian Gressel, who leaves it through now to Villalba, right side of the box. Villalba's tough angle shot over the crossbar. Seconds remain. Antonella sends it down the far touchline again. Just a few seconds left. Diving header by Escobar to send it up to Rometty. Settled down by Nagby. Played back to Escobar. Just seconds remaining now, folks. Michael Parkhurst on top of the goal mouth. Portland does not approach the ball. Parkhurst sends it down the middle. Referee checks his watch. It's going to bounce all the way into Antonella. Atlanta! It is over! This city has a champion, and it's Atlanta United, winners of the 2018 MLS Cup Final.